Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Team Fortress TV ESEA-Invite Season 21. Our first match tonight will be between Team SoloUber and Running with Scizors. My name is Mr. SLIN, and joining me on the cast is Avast. What's up, Avast? And Dash TM on the camera. And Avast is moving his cord right now, but we have a really good match.
I'm here.
You're here. All right, sweet.
I'm here.
Running with Scizors is currently in 5th place, and Team SoloUber is in 6th place. So Running with Scizors with a 1-1 record, Team SoloUber with a 1-2 record. And this should be a great match of Avast. I'm looking forward to it. It should be close.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be a great match between these two teams. I'm really excited to see them face off. I think it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be the closest of matches,
But I don't know where you went, Avast, but it got worse. I'm just gonna let you know that. But yeah, no, this will be a really good match. I think that Team SoloUber, a lot of people predicted them to be in the top 2 teams this season, with Ascent being 1st place and Team SoloUber being 2nd place. But Ascent are, I don't know. Unfortunately, they lost to Froyotech last night, so they're no longer in 1st place. Actually, EVL currently has the best record in Invite with a 3-win, 0-loss record, and Froyotech creeping up there 2-0. We're going to be casting Froyotech later on tonight. They're going to play versus Hands Off, which should be another good one. But at first, we have TSU versus Running with Scizors. So let's go down the rosters for these teams. For Team SoloUber, we have Ninja Nick on Medic, Showstopper on Pocket, Grape on Roamer, Duwatna on Demo, Scizor on Scout, and Alec on Scout. Versus Running with Scizors, Sky on Medic, Deathy on Pocket, Rakuso on Roamer, Jarrett on Demo, Evil Mr. Muffins on Scout, and Sen on Scout.
Yeah, I think it's, I think that, by the way, is this any better?
This is better, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Sorry, I'm just,
For those of you guys who aren't filled in, yeah, Avast is casting from his parents' place, so.
Yes, and I'm being constantly swarmed by different people and having to change locations. So I'm trying to find the optimal location to cast the Team Fortress 2 video game. But I think that where we're really going to see the difference makers for Running with Scizors, for them to really stand a chance in this matchup, I think we're really going to see it from the scouts from Scizor and Sin. I think they really need to step up here to really give them a shot to compete with TSU on this map.
Yeah, Sen is very good at this game, and we saw him on Snakewater, pretty good on Sniper as well. He's been on fire, and Viaduct is one of those maps that really favors Sniper, so looking forward to see him there. And Evil Mr. Muffins is this beast of a surfer who is now a Sixes player who's been working his way up the ladder in the past couple seasons, so I expect good things from him. But they have a really tough match up against Team SoloUber, who has a roster full of seasoned, experienced players who've been in Invite for a while.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and many of us, myself included, were expecting them to come out here very, very strong in this beginning of the season. But with some good games against EVL and such, and just taking them down a peg, in my opinion, I think like they're a very strong team. But I think that they really need to, curb their losing streak with this game versus Running with Scizors.
Yeah, Team SoloUber, the first 2 matches of the season, they took 2 losses versus EVL and Ascent. Ascent was a not so close match, 5-2, but against EVL it was very close. 3-4 was the loss, and EVL showed that they can really hang in the top 3-4 teams of Invite. So Team SoloUber, a disappointing loss from them. They did get a 4-0 win on Viaduct earlier this week against the Bugs, but the Bugs are currently the worst team in Invite right now, so really not much of a surprise there. And Team SoloUber have a lot to prove tonight against Running with Scizors. Well, that's not harsh. The Bugs are clearly the worst team in Invite.
No, I agree. I mean, based off their performance, you can't really rate them higher until they perform better, So I think that's actually completely fair. But I just like to bag on you.
Yeah. And with Running with Scizors, they also took a loss in the beginning of the season to EVL, but they crushed the Bugs 5-2 on Snakewater, and this is their first match of the Viaduct. This is their only match of the Viaduct week, so they've been scrimming on it in secret, and we'll see how they do against Team SoloUber. Well, I was looking up their demos on Sizzling Stats, trying to see if I could watch them play, but they don't have demos that are public. So Jarrett confirmed with me that they don't have SDVs on their
see.
server.
They are
so
in secret.
it is
like
secret.
They're training.
Yeah, their training grounds. Sean White has a Red Bull snow park out in the mountains somewhere that no one can see his practice tricks. One of those things. So we're here on Viaduct, which is a map that favors a lot of team play, favors teams with good DM, focus fire. What are your thoughts on this map thus far, Avast, and who do you give the edge to?
I mean, in my personal experience and just, the experience with general TF2 game knowledge, scouts are really a huge difference maker on this map. I mean, they are on every map, but particularly Viaduct because it lets them, in the words of Banny, they're very fluid. They can do a lot of things. They play a lot of roles. And just looking in terms of experience alone and high invite play, the TSU squad is very much has the upper hand when it comes to both those statistics.
Yeah, you're right. I think Scizor Alec is a stronger scout duo than Sen and Mr. Muffins. Sen and Mr. Muffins are both playing their first seasons in Invite, and then they're up against Alec, who's been pretty strong, and Scizor, who is the most experienced player in all of Invite, having played all the way back to Season 2. So Scizor's been playing for a very long time. His 20th, is that 20th season of TF2? That is quite a lot.
Yeah, he's been playing since Season 1, right? Hasn't that been?
Season 2.
Season 2. Okay, I mean, and this is Season 22. So...
21.
Oh, is it 21? I thought it was 22.
21.
Okay, well still, that's 19. It's 19.
Well, you got to count the 21st. I mean, this is the 20th season for him, so he's...
I guess if we're going by... Yeah, okay, 20. This is 20th season.
I know. You're not Asian. I'm Asian. Math is my specialty, so that's
Ooh. How do you know?
Racism.
That's just a little... I will fair. That's fair point. So.
Yeah,
but yeah, I
agree.
Scizor, a ton of experience. Both of these, the scout comp from TSU in particular, very experienced, strong players overall. And I mean, not discounting Sin or Muffins by a long shot, but I think that they just have a lot to prove in this match.
I really like TSU's odds in the Showstopper Grape versus Deathy Rakuso matchup as well. Showstopper, this team, TSU, got second place in Invite last season. So we know that they have the ability to compete at the highest levels of North American TF2 and up against Rakuso and Deathy. Rakuso has played an Invite before, Deathy his first season, and I think the experience in TSU will show in this matchup as well. I think that, we've been watching Grape just go insane on the bombs, so can't expect anything less than that in this matchup on Viaduct.
Yeah, definitely. I think overall the team just has the experience, just the experience advantage. They just have players that have played the top invite for a much longer time.
Yeah, Ninja Nick versus Sky, Dwatna versus Jarrett. I think that TSU would have the higher quality players versus running with Scizors on every class. So if you were running with Scizors, what are you hoping to get out of this match here?
I mean, if I was running with Scizors, I'd be hoping to get a win.
Well, yes, but how are you gonna get that win when it's gonna you got a matchup like this?
I mean, really, just the key is I think for a lot of teams in the upper echelons of Invite, they sort of underestimate often some of the newer teams. I know in my personal experience that they're just, and it's fair of them to underestimate because often they just have the player and the experience advantage and the cohesion. But really, the best way to beat those teams is sort of to just put them off balance early game and really play super cohesively. Make sure that if they do have superior DM, that you play together to negate it as much as possible.
Yeah, I agree with you. For TSU, they've had a couple disappointing losses, like we mentioned earlier this season. So there is opportunity. We're still feeling out TSU. It's still really early, week 2. There's plenty of times for the teams to hash out any issues that they're having. But for TSU, it's early enough in the season where maybe running with Scizors can eke out a surprise upset in this match. But here we are on Viaduct, and it's 10 players in the server, and you gotta be a little bit nervous if you're running with Scizors. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also that Viaduct is very much a good indicator of how teams stand in the Invite division in particular, because it's just such it's a map with so much coordination, but also relies so heavily at the same time on DM and just coordinated spam fights. So I think Viaduct is a really great way to really gauge these newer Invite teams against some of the more experienced ones.
Yeah. I would like to see maybe Sen hop over to Sniper if things start getting bad, because we like we said, he is a good sniper. We've seen him do it before earlier in the season. Maybe they can throw TSU off the game if Sen goes that way. We haven't seen. I've been watching the Invite match this season. I haven't seen too much heavy play either. So that's another way that they could try and just throw a crazy strat at TSU and see if they balk.
Definitely, I think a heavy play is actually very strong in Viaduct, by playing near rock or on cliff, things like that. But I think they'd be better suited to running the SLIN sniper, because we've seen previously in the game versus with Froyo last night actually versus Ascent, that Corsa ran sniper very successfully, and this is Viaduct in particular is a very, very sniper friendly map with very strong sightlines.
Yeah, you're right. Although I think they need to nerf that China spot, the spot right next to the battlements, because you can watch through all the way down like any side of the map. You can see down valley, you can see downstairs, down mains. So a lot of teams have been running sniper this season on Viaduct, and I haven't really had too many problems. I think the team that runs the snipers does really well as long as they hit their shot. Last night we were watching Corsa on sniper absolutely tear it up on Viaduct. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Sen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in particular, Viaduct is a map that I think it could use a general tweaking overall of sniper sightlines. I mean, sniper's strong on Bats, it's strong on China, it's strong holding near the rock, because you can even just peek around the different sides of the rock. And it really favors a team that can utilize a sniper well and has a really, really strong, capable sniper on their roster.
Viaduct is also one of those maps that seems to have like really favor soldiers that jump around a lot, and Grape is very jumpy, like bombing threat onto medics. He does these cheese plays. He can be a distraction. He can get behind the enemy team and cause problems. So I'm looking forward to watching Grape and see what he can do on this map. And also Showstopper, he's also very jumpy, likes to make space. He's a driving force for the team. So Showstopper and Grape I think will be a really good combo. Duatna has been doing really well on TSU this season. He's a suitable replacement for Zalox, who is no longer on the team from last season. So Team SoloUber have a strong roster, and like I said, Scizors a very experienced fragging threat. So
yeah, definitely, I completely agree. I mean, and Duatna in many respects is a more than capable. It's not only a capable replacement for Zalox, but I think in many eyes would be even a better replacement for Zalox, considering his strong history on the previous iterations of Froyo.
Yeah, I'm really surprised actually that they have such a strong,
Slinjamin? SLIN? SLIN Jamino? Well, SLIN has disappeared from the cast, so I will resume. I will take over from where he left off. I will continue his legacy. And yeah, I'm pretty good at math. Some other discriminatory, slightly racist statements. But I think sort of going on with some more analysis. Oh, he's out of mobile. Going on with some more analysis is that continuing from the statement, Showstopper and Grape, on particular, as SLIN was saying earlier, are very, very aggressive soldiers. But so are the runaway scissor combo in my experience. I think they do like to do a lot of bomb-ins and a lot of very, very aggressive double soldier Ubers. But Grape and Showstopper have a little bit of the edge, because they're such experienced players, and their communication really when they do their bombs, especially Showstoppers, I think is really on point. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of really, really fat soldier bombs, and maybe some air shots like we saw in the Ascent versus Froyo match, when we saw a couple of highlights from Wreck-It Rando hitting some massive air shoot 'em ups, as I would like to say, some air shoot 'em ups. So I think overall it's going to be a really, really aggressive match from TSU and also from Scizors, because that's sort of how they both like to play, but they just have a lot to prove. And apparently Rakuso is AFK. And so they're sort of waiting on him to get back before starting up. And we're also waiting on SLIN. And hopefully he will be rejoining soon. It actually looks like we're going live. And SLIN is back just in time.
Blue screen of death, you know how it is.
Rest in peace. Well, I'll take the first mid for you. And they're going to be going out to this first mid with Scizors on red and TSU on blue. And I think what I'm going to watch for this first mid is I'm going to try to see the demo man. I'm going to actually see what Jarrett does to see what space he can create for his team. They're going to be rolling this mid through this left side, Jarrett is. He's looking for someone to put a sticky out. He sees that they're going left. Duwata just came off a cliff. They're still going to be exchanging some spam here, looking for an opening. The scouts are taking position on rocks. Showstopper's actually spamming off cliff, but he's actually very hurt. They have really good damage on Showstopper, actually. I would like to see Scizors be aggressive here. And there's going to be a bomb out. They're chasing Soldier back behind. Deputies bring them very, very far back. And Alex is going to go down to Muffins, but Showstopper's going to pick up Rakuso. And Sky actually went down to a bomb from Grape, a really good bomb. And he's actually chasing Jarrett on point. He gets another pick on Jarrett. He's going to be cleaned up from Mr. Muffins. Both scouts are very weak on red on the point. And actually TSU's coming in here with their heals and their player advantage. They're going to be cleaning up right here. And SLIN, are you back in the game? Not back in the game yet. Well, it looks like I get this all to myself. More for me. And this is gonna be a first mid cap.
There, Avast, that sucks.
No, dude, you don't need to. I'm strong, independent caster, and I don't need no SLIN.
Wow, man.
Yeah. Well, I do need you, SLIN. I'm kidding. Of course, I need you. But it's actually gonna be a repush out here from red, and I'm thinking they're gonna try to get a force off of Ninja Nick here since Sky has so little. It's actually going to be a bomb here from Deathy, followed up by the other soldiers of red. They're all going to be chasing. Deathy goes down. The scouts are chasing. They're following, and Jared goes down. Raku's going, and they get the force off of Ninja Nick. He holds it for about 70, but then he fears for his life and pops. And they're just going to be I think there's going to be a forward hold possibly from TSU. I would not be surprised for it. Yeah, they're going to be setting up the Froyo hold with the demo on cliff and both soldiers on left. And they're going to be trying to aggressively spam anyone that gets out. And Sky is going to have like a 70% Uber ad.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for Sky here. She's 10 seconds away from getting Uber, but TSU are doing a good job of locking down these doors and making it hard for them to push out. Looks like Ninja Nick is already backing off to the point and giving Sky a lot of space to work with, but red team are just starting to make it out the doors now. Grape looks like he's gonna get caught. Deathy's gonna hit him with the air shot against the wall, and running with Scizors have a man advantage, pushing in with that Uber advantage.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm just hoping for a bully out of red here because you really, with that soldier pick, they really have that better spam. And Jared actually gets picked by Ninja Nick, SLIN. Oh my goodness, that's a really big pick, and they get the Uber out. Alex is going to be forcing that, and he'll be going down. Actually, an incredibly good defense from blue, considering that they picked Jared and got the force out.
I mean, that's what they wanted. All they wanted was that force, and to get Jarrett there is just extra bonus points. So Ninja Nick now 10% away from getting his Uber. They're going to start walking in through the choke. Bomb comes over across the top, but Scizors is able to juggle Rakuso up in the air, and they take him down with the help of Showstopper. Now Scizor turning around. There's another soldier behind us. Deathy lands on the health pack. He's jumping around and gets the force out of Ninja Nick. Now Scizor and company are running back towards the point. Alex picks up 2 frags, and Sky is forced to run it out the back right side. And nice retake there by TSU.
Yeah, that was a very good retake, and actually a pretty nice shot from Grape onto one of the scouts. He's actually fighting on the cliff. The scout might go down. Nope, he gets out. That was going to be Muffins being very aggressive there. But it was actually not a terrible defense and retreat from red there, because now they have Uberad. They didn't really lose anyone. But actually, as I say that, Deathy goes down to a trap for Duwatna, and they're going to be down that soldier here, and they're still going to be looking to push with this Uberad.
Yeah, a lot of time on the clock, though, for the blue side. They're up 1.5 minutes, and running with Scizors need to make a move right now, even though they're down a player. So there goes Sky. She popped in the Uber on the point with Jarrett, and Evil Mr. Muffins chased to the right side, but TSU are completely out. Nicely done, kiting away that Uber and didn't lose a single player.
Very, very good. And they're actually be repushing here with this health advantage. They will lose a scout, but Rakuso go down. Actually, Deathy gets Ninja Nick, and Duwatna goes down. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a bit of a misplay there by TSU, but here they come now with the fragging players right back in, and Sen is 35 health, the only player alive for running with Scizors. It was looking so good for them. They bombed onto Ninja Nick and got the kill there, but they lost Sky. So the cap is going to go back for TSU, and that's more time off the clock for the blue team now. It looks like there's not that much time left for the push to come in from running with Scizors.
Yeah, about 45 seconds. That's enough to get an Uber, possibly run a sack too, if that's what red wants to do. But it looks like they actually just want to fight it here. Soldiers are taking Cliff very aggressively. They're peeking the flank here. They're just exchanging spam. And I think blue's just going to try to get their Uber, hopefully, because they can give up point time, while red really can't afford to wait very much longer. And Jared caught up here.
Yeah, Jared goes down. Sky's pretty hurt, so she's not able to deliver heals to the rest of the team. She's actually playing pretty far back now, walking forward a little bit tentatively. TSU, like you said, kiting that off there, trying not to lose so many players. They lose Alec. Both of their scouts are down. Now Showstopper dies over by middle. and TSU are going to back off with the point and give that over to Running with Scizors. But I think they're pretty happy to do so. They have so much time and the advantage.
Absolutely, and Deathy is still down, so they're going to be down a soldier for spam or possible bombs, and Sky still doesn't have Uber. Jared is up now, but actually the health isn't super great, because I think they're building right now. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
Well,
or maybe
Ninja Nick has the Uber, and there's 10 seconds on the clock, so they're just going to walk it right in here, and Sky's going to have to go for some sort of defense. She's just about to get it as the Uber's popped by Ninja Nick onto Showstopper. He's looking for frags. Now Sky's over by Valley, pops it in on Scout Demo towards the point. That's Evil Mr. Muffin's pushing forward and taking down Alec. They have number advantage here. This isn't too bad for Running with Scizors. Deathy bombs the back right side and pushes Ninja Nick out, but isn't able to get the kill. And Running with Scizors are putting capture time on the point here as the time ticks down into overtime.
And it looks like Showstopper's actually going to pick up Sky for his own life, and that's actually a very good trade here for Blue, because they'll have the heal advantage, they still have the time advantage, they can play very slow and just win the spam game with Sin going down too. And it looks like all the red players are very hurt.
Yeah, without a medic, it's going to be hard for them to win this team fight. TSU can play the long game. Deathy goes for the bomb, but dies to Duat in this trap. And Duat picking up a couple frags here is such a strong presence for TSU. They're just going to put some capture time, and red team have to go in. Rakuso going to get juggled up in the air. Showstopper to get the frag down as he gets a second kill onto Evil Mr. Muffins. TSU are looking to clean this up and get the first round on the board.
That was actually a very good offense and decent hold from Red there, to considering their time deficit and their Uber disad. But at the end, I mean, the health disadvantage and the player advantage just really won it out in the end for Blue. That could just sort of have a creeping advance across the point there.
Yeah, when you get a large time advantage, it forces the other team to make decisions that they don't want to make otherwise as we head into the next middle. Great play in the top left shack. We've been seeing roamers do this all season long, just hiding up here, waiting for the other team to make a move. That's exactly what's going to happen as both soldiers bomb in for Running with Scizors, trying to get behind. Alec picks off Rakuso, though, as Deathy and Sen pick up 2 frags of their own, so it's a pretty even fight to start things off on this middle. Looks like Evil Mr. Muffins tries to shove back Showstopper and takes him down with the help of Sen. So Running with Scizors actually have the man advantage, and with this Scout Demo combination, they're able to push back TSU and fend them off the point.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty close fight considering the trade of the flank, but then Showstopper bombed and got cleaned up by a scout, which really turned the tide for Red there, as they had the player ad and they were just able to push them off the point. And it looks like Blue's going to be trying to repush considering that both teams have Uber.
Yep, and like you said, both teams have Uber walking in towards the point. Looks like they're able to force Ninja Nick. Now Sky pops her Uber, and Red have a slightly better Uber here. So it looks like Deathy wants to go in and make Ninja Nick flash around a bit more. Nick is trying to back off. Deathy finding Grape on Sniper up on the battlements, and TSU go down a player. They don't want to fight this, but time's ticking. Rakuso, meanwhile, fighting against Showstopper on the deep right, is able to get that kill, and Running with Scizors are chasing out these frags. Evil Mr. Muffins finds Scizor, and Running with Scizors are collapsing on that left side valley, putting a lot of hurt onto Duwatna. And Ninja Nick's going to be able to run it out alive, and I'm surprised that he's able to stay alive here.
That was, even if Ninja Nick died, that was still such good focus fire from Running with Scizors. I just saw them absolutely mulch players as they came in one by one. A lot of the scouts were being a little bit too aggressive on TSU, and they're just cleaned up, and Blue's going to be re-pushing here, trying to take this point, or at least get a force out from Sky soon, but Sky still doesn't have it, and they're going to be fighting for this point now.
Yeah, they're down a minute, so TSU have to make a move. They cannot allow Running with Scizors to get that much of a lead. As the bomb comes in behind them, Rakuso sneaking back there and taking the enemy health pack. Now he's still jumping around behind their house. Meanwhile, a 1-for-1 trade as the Ubers are popped by the point. Sky again with a better Uber, and TSU are not looking too hot here. Ninja Nick gonna get surfed out towards main and picked off by Evil Mr. Muffin. So Running with Scizors, now all they have to do is play the heal advantage, trying to group up on the point, trying to kill more time off the clock. They're a minute and a half ahead here of Avast, and it's looking pretty good for them.
It is looking very good. Blue's going to be bombing very aggressively to force them out, but they're still going to be able to repush. Their health is so bad on Blue right now. Red can just walk in and clean up every frag and recap for free, and they've delayed their spawns by recapping the point, so there'll be no soldiers for Blue. And this is looking very, very favorable with Red, with Deathy bombing very aggressively. And they're actually going to pick up Scizor, Rakuso will, and Duwana's very hurt. Duwana gets up to SLIN. This is very, very good for Running with Scizors.
Yeah, if you're Duwatna, you cannot be dying in that position. He's on such a long spawn timer, 11 seconds. That's more time off the clock, and looks like TSU are almost about 2 minutes behind. So not only are they down in Uber percentage, but you know they're down in numbers as well. Now just getting these respawners, they have to make a move here, and they have to win this next team fight if they want to win this round.
Absolutely, this is so crucial right here because really Sky's Uber can hold the point for the remaining minute almost.
Oh no, yeah, Showstopper dying to start things off. It's going to put him at a man disadvantage. They're going to go for the sacrifice play onto Sky to see if they can Enforcer, but look at Sen, and he's just picking up 2 frags onto Duatna and Grape, so he's able to hold off these bombers, and Sky was under no threat at all. So nice positioning there by Sky, and great job by running with Scissors to play around her.
Yeah, and really good job from the running with Scissors scouts to really deny those bombs. And Blue's going to be making a push now with Uber, and this is really where the team fight's going to come into play here, and hopefully they get a better exchange. And actually, Ninja Nick did force really early.
Yeah, I love the aggression out of Deathy, pushing forward and forcing Ninja Nick to flash a couple times. Now it's going to be an even 6-on-6 fight on the point. Alec to start things off with a kill onto Jared, but then Duatna goes down. Both Demomen down for either team. Now they're throwing soldiers back and forth at each other. Scizor and Showstopper picking up frags. Scizor gets a second one onto Rakuso. Capture time on the point for TSU. It's a 2-on-2 fight playing with Ninja Nick, and Scizor just has to hold off these 2 scouts here, which he's going to be easily able to do with the help of these heals. They get the capture point down there. That's crucial for TSU.
Yeah, that was a very clutch play from TSU in the end, being able to distract them away from the point with their soldiers, even if they died, and their scouts really winning the fight for them in the post-Uber. It came very close. If the scouts had played together a little bit more, I think they possibly been able to get Scizor, but we're going to see a repush here from Red, contesting this point really hard because really they don't have anything to lose with all this time they have.
Yeah, and they did have a 1-man advantage on the respawn, that late death there on TSU. They're going to fight towards Showstopper. Showstopper grabs the pack behind the enemy team, so he's actually causing a bit of a distraction there. Meanwhile, Rakuso goes down, and Red Team are in a bit of a bad situation. Sky trying to back it out of main as Evil Mr. Muffins picks up the frag onto Showstopper, but they're losing so many players as TSU collapses on main. Now they lose Sky, they lose their medic. They're down more players here, and Evil Mr. Muffins is Rakuso, the only player alive for running with Scissors, back at spawn on Sniper. TSU, a brilliant hold there.
A very good hold, and very poor positioning from Red, actually. I mean, they had gone forced back into that sort of death alley near the, what they like to call planks, and they just were losing players left and right, and I think they should have just left immediately once they got in that position. There's actually some fighting here from main. Red's coming out to fight Blue very aggressively. The Blue players are going to get popped. Oh, really good force, actually. They were very aggressive.
Yeah, I liked the idea of that forward hold by TSU, but they did not want to use Uber there because what that ended up happening was, oh no, Ninja Nick is committing himself too. He gets picked off by Rakuso. A big misplay there by TSU, over-committing to the spawn, trying to chase frags, and running with Scissors actually end up turning the sacrifice play into a medic pick.
It was greedy is the best way I would describe it. A very greedy play there. Ninja Nick gets punished for pushing in so deep into spawn with their Uber almost over, and they lost so many players. And now Red's going to be here fighting just the 2 scouts and the demo right now pretty much for Blue, and they're going to get a lot of really good positioning on this point.
Yeah,
Sky goes down behind them though. Alec flanked and picks up Sky behind. He's going to be coming off the cliff now. He's going to be probably picking up Jarrett. He's still fighting them on point now. Oh my goodness, I think Red's going to wipe right here.
Yeah, they're trying to duke it out. TSU playing the heals with both their scouts live on point. Here comes a soldier in behind though. It's Deathy to pick up Ninja Nick. And TSU are trying their best to hold that off. The timers are getting so low for either team. Red team tried to put some capture time there and win that round, but they couldn't. And TSU now are getting dangerously close to 0. Looks like there's going to be a bit of a refight here as both teams respawn and come back to the point.
Yeah, but Red does have better spawns and better health right now, so this is going to be a good exchange for Red if they're played together. But Showstopper will pick up Jarrett. Oh my goodness, so this is actually very good for Blue. Oh, no, never mind. The health wins it out in the end. It's just going to be Ninja Nick on point.
What? Sick Uber saw by Ninja Nick to try and say that right at the end, but not good enough there. And running with Scissors, tie it up to 1-1. And man, it was a close round. And
that was a good round. That was a very good round. I think that was good play from both teams and a nice air shot saw in the end to end it up. But we're gonna get another middle here, and it looks like both teams just doing the standard. Actually, a very aggressive bomb from Grape. He's gonna be bombing on top of their China, really drawing behind him. Showstopper's on their cliff too right now, SLIN.
Meanwhile, the scouts for TSU are trying to push across, and Alec is up in the face of Rakuso. Pistol out to help get that kill down. TSU up in numbers now, trying to hold that other scout. Looks like Alec's able to get sent down there. He turns around for Deathy, and Scizor finishes off the frag. Running with Scissors, they tried their best to hold it off, but Grape and Showstopper were in for those frags.
Yeah, definitely, but I mean, Duatna will be down for this possible repush of Red, so there's going to be no spam compared to Jarrett's spam on Red team here, and it's just both scouts on point, and they're sort of getting over spam, but now the rest of Blue team's coming in, and there's going to be a really aggressive fight on this flank, actually.
Ninja Nick has swapped himself over to Kritzkrieg, maybe going for a bit of an Uber advantage play as Alec gets taken down by Sen's pistol. Ninja Nick's trying to play back with Duatna over by the valley, but there's a lot of cap time there for running with Scissors. Rakuso holding that flank off, and there's a lot of point presence for the red team. They pick up the kill onto Scizor, and Duatna is not able to help out. So you got to be careful here. You got to keep an eye on Duatna. He's about to get this Kritzkrieg and go back in. And looks like he has the crit streak now. Duana walking up and fires the first sticky and gets the 3K with that sticky, taking down Sky. Evil Mr. Muffins and Jared Rakuso goes down shortly after. There's a desperation bomb out of Deathy onto Ninja Nick, but Ninja Nick barely stays alive with 12 health, and that's a complete wipe out of Running with Scizors.
That's pretty devastating for Scizors, I would say. I'm sorry if you missed me during that interim. I had to go grab my charger for my laptop, actually. I was about to die.
You're all good there, but TSU, wow, the power play there, and the most brilliant sticky I've ever seen out of Duatna. Gets 3 kills with a single crit sticky, completely caught Sky off guard, and wipes the enemy team. Alec a little bit overextended, though, on this forward hold. Duatna gets picked off as well here. This is a big break for Running with Scizors.
Oh my goodness. This is a very big break for Scizors, actually. With the 2 down, Duatna dead, there's no spam to hold these entrances. I think it's going to be a recap here for Running with Scizors.
Yeah, they're coming right back in and get that capture point down. And Ninja Nick is still on crit streak, 80% for him. This time, Running with Scizors will know what's happening, and Sky's going to try and position herself away from this crit. They're trying to build it over by Cliff. And now Sky realizes, yeah, that crit is coming in soon, so she's going to hide out over by the backside of Cliff. And all eyes on Duatna to see what he can do with his crits. Firing off a couple stickies, isn't really able to find much. That's exactly what Running with Scizors wanted out of this. And now actually Duatna gets caught out, but Jared falls down to Duatna. Amazingly, here comes Sen now, killing Duatna as the Uber comes in for Running with Scizors. They're chasing out the combo for TSU back left, but Ninja Nick's able to stay out alive. And Rakuso picking up frags on the flank. There's a bit of a scuffle here over by the valley. There's a soldier behind. That's Grape, who dies down to Sen. And Running with Scizors keeping that man advantage on the point.
Yeah, very scrappy point. I mean, even with Jarrett going down, Duatna's still dying at the end, and they're actually going to be chasing Blue here. Back to their spawn. I think Blue's going to back up pretty, I mean, oh, Duatna goes down, though. They're trying to push this cliff, and Showstopper goes down. Alec goes down. Oh, my goodness. Blue just sort of fed into red there on that forward hold, SLIN. I don't know what exactly they were thinking, because they were stuck.
Yeah, it was a great read by Running with Scizors. They realized there was no flank alive for TSU. They all collapsed on that cliffside doorway and pick up way too many frags. So TSU in a bit of a bad spot here. Running with Scizors about to take the time advantage on the clock. They collapse their soldiers onto lower main. Scizors in there, back there, shooting Rakuso from behind. Gets a kill as Deathy tries to sneak in left side, gets picked up by Alex. So now Ninja Nick with that crit streak, looking around for frags, joining his scout on the left side, pushing the flank, and Sky's got to hightail it out.
Yeah, I mean, such a good play from Running with Scizors, and then immediately just sort of counter-dying to TSU there, when they really could have, I think, held it a little bit better than that. And actually, there's going to be crits popped off here from Blue, and they're going to get sit, but they're going to pop Uber, though. Sky, they're going to collapse here on flank.
Yeah, they're trying to get some blue players down, but a big misplay by Sky to drop Sen. She popped it on him there, but the crit streak ends up killing anyways. And now the fight ensues. Grape finds Deathy as Showstopper tries to bomb out Jarrett over by the point. TSU have number advantage. They want to come back in. Evil Mr. Muffins dies on the point as both scouts are pushing forward for TSU. Rakuso trying his best to hold it off, but he's going to have to back off for this, and looks like Running with Scizors are just going to give this up for free.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame to drop your scout on that Uber because of how important scouts are in these post-Uber fights. But it looks like it was just a really good sticky from Duatna there and sort of a misclick from Sky. But it looks like Red's going to be repushing from this cliff area, trying to get Ninja Nick. I think they're hoping to actually just have a fight here. So Ninja Nick's about to have Uber, and so will Sky in about 20 more.
He's like, Ninja Nick's been on Chris this entire time. So the crit goes on to Duatna. Hey, finds Sky, top right, over by the cliff, and gets another kill onto Jarrett. Duatna absolutely destroying with this crit streak. Evil Mr. Muffins, the only player alive for Running with Scizors, goes down, and TSU, another great hold by them. Surprising Sky with that crit streak. It's amazing how he's able to find that kill every time.
Surprised even me, SLIN, considering I had forgotten in like 2 seconds that they had crits and they just repicked Sky. And actually, here comes Red just trying to get through main to go to point, but they're sort of just getting cleaned up by Blue. I'm sure this scout's going to be picked up soon, and that's going to be it for this round, I think. And just really, really good crit play from Duatna and just solid focus fire, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the damage numbers at the end of this game because he's been picking up all these crit sticky kills, and it's really working out for them. And Duatna hasn't disappointed on TSU this season thus far, as the score is 2-1. TSU are in the lead. Duatna going top right cliff, a bit of a safer rollout for him. Both scouts are, it looks like Grapes goes for the deep bomb behind the rock. Juggles up a scout in the air, but he's down pretty low to 58 health. No one's really shooting at him, though, and Grape is reloading. Now he's onto Sky, pushes her back and gets the kill. Nice job by Grape. Showstopper in behind them as well as raining down rockets from Cliff. Now both soldiers are in for Running with Scizors onto Ninja Nick to try and get him down, but Nick stays alive with 23 health. Scizor cuts off Deathy, and that's going to be a wipe for Running with Scizors.
That honestly, running with Scizors had a much better shot to win that mid, but they just didn't clean up either one of the bombing soldiers on them. They were both pretty low. They just need a little bit of focus fire, and then they could have just re-pushed across the point, but they just stayed alive for far too long, SLIN. It just gave them so much positional advantage.
Yeah, and I can't believe that Grape didn't get shot out that entire mid. Like, he was brought really low, and then no one finished him off. He was able to get that kill in the sky and get that uber advantage for Ninja Nyx. So blue team in a very good situation here, and running with Scizors have two options. They can go for the dry push, or they can go for a sacrifice play. Looks like it might be the latter, as they're jumping in a soldier. Sen finds his way over the top left of the rocks. They're going in deep for Ninja Nyx, but Nyx has decent positioning here, is able to get that health pack, and wow, look how many players are falling for running with Scizors.
Yeah, I mean, they just try to do a pretty classic sack play, just have one scout build and spawn, and then the rest sack. And they had Nick backed up in that corner, which is actually one of the best spots to really catch a medic in those bombs, but they just weren't able to land the shots, and TSU were able to hit theirs, really defend Nick and that Uber.
Well, and the other problem with the sacrifice play, though, is that TSU were able to choke up right up against those doorways and now force an Uber right at that left side door. That's exactly what's going to happen. Ninja Nyx is going to pop a better Uber over by the stair side health pack and push back running with Scizors. Sky's got to run out of there by herself, and now the red team are trying to find a fight over by Cliff, but not looking too good for them thus far. They haven't found any picks.
Yeah, no picks, just, I mean, pretty vanilla Uber exchanges. And looks like Red's still gonna be pushing off this cliff though, trying to really win this spam fight, push their scouts off of. There's even a soldier bombing. Oh my goodness, he got so much damage on Red. Red is so hurt right now, so they're gonna be cleaned up here by the Showstopper and Alec clean.
Yeah, they're just getting stuffed by really all of the players of TSU. Like, so many different players on TSU are picking up kills, and like I said, scouts are so important on a map like Viaduct, and Scizor and Alec are doing a great job of providing presence, making sure those bombs don't come through. I'm watching Ninja Nyx's perspective. He's virtually untouched in these fights, so TSU back in that forward hold, and if you're running with Scizors, you got to find a way to get in here and get a force out of Ninja Nyx, but it looks like Jared's going to go down over by the cliff.
That's going to delay their push by a lot. They're all pretty hurt too. TSU is playing this forward hold very, very well, especially with that pick on Jarrett. There's not really the spam that they need to sort of get out, but they have to get out soon. There's only 40 seconds left. They really need to fight this point.
Gotta make something happen. Running with Scizors haven't gotten a single capture in this round, still at that full 3 minutes. They popped the Uber out of lower doorway, and Deathy tries to find a scout here, but Ninja Nyx still holding on his Uber, very comfortable. 27 seconds on the clock, and TSU are pushing their way back now with this Uber, popping it onto Scizor, now chasing Jarrett down the deep right side. Scizor gets that kill. Yeah, he did get 2 picks. It's gonna be a 5-on-4 fight for running with Scizors coming back in. Rakuso gets to Watna as Rakuso looks for the kill on Ninja Nyx. Actually, number advantage for running with Scizors is very surprising here.
They really need to, man, they gave up the chase on Nick. Rakuso had a good bomb pinning them there, and they just weren't able to pick up the frag. It would have been so good if they had picked up that Ninja Nyx frag here, because they're pretty much going to be pushing with equal Ubers, and there's only 5 seconds left on the clock for blue and a full time for red. So that's played really tight here, and just it's really, really, really tight to stop any sort of aggression.
Deep jump in from Grape to get behind and distract red players, pulling them off with the chokes. He actually finds a kill onto Rakuso's, that Showstopper behind them, finds a kill onto Evil Mr. Muffins. That's a 2-man advantage for TSU as the Ubers pop by Sky, and now they're desperately searching around for frags. Jarrett finds one on a Showstopper with a pill, but they're still down in numbers. Grape is behind on Battlements, raining down rockets, takes down Sky, and now distracting Deathy. Deathy does get the fall damage kill onto Grape, but TSU are now collapsing onto Jarrett. 3 health alive for him, and Alec picks up 2 pistol frags. That's going to be another round for TSU.
That's going to be half as well.
Yeah.
I think your prediction is really coming true here, SLIN, where the soldiers for TSU are really, really making the differences in these fights. They're just staying alive for so long. They're putting so much pressure behind them. Their bombs are very coordinated, and they're just hitting their shots on them.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, running with Scizors have good scouts in Sen and Evil Mr. Muffins, but I don't know if they're experienced enough to predict where Showstopper and Grape are coming in, because Grape and Showstopper are making so much headway, getting behind there, picking up the back health packs, pulling the running with Scizors players off of those choke points and allowing the rest of the team to come in. That's exactly what they need to be doing to TSU, but can't seem to find a way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can tell that that Muffins and Sin are both talented scouts. They're getting frags. They're just not doing what they really need to be doing on these, and really denying soldiers, or even running across point and getting frags while the soldiers are behind. They're not really achieving nearly as much with those soldiers constantly harassing them.
Yeah, and Rakuso and Deathy, on the other hand, are not seeming to find those openings that Grape and Showstopper are finding. When you watch Ninja Nick's POV, he's kind of just chilling out, having a good time. I mean, Viaduct is one of those maps that is very difficult for medics to play properly, but Ninja Nick is doing it brilliantly.
Yeah, absolutely. He was pretty untouched that last round, I would say. He didn't really have a lot of pressure, and he was just able to hold his Uber to his heart's content.
Well, and you know, running with Scizors have been going for sacrifice plays. We've been seeing that happening, but TSU at multiple points in time were able to move up to that forward hold. And the way that this metagame is right now, the forward hold is so hard to break once they're settled in on the doorways. It's really hard to break out.
Yeah, absolutely. The forward hold, especially with how TSU have been playing it, it's very, very tough to break. I mean, there's a reason it's probably the most effective forward hold that was patented by the legendary Froyo. It just allows you to control those entrances so well. You're generally able to back up as long as your timing is good and you don't overextend. It's a very, very effective in situations like this where the other team's just sort of getting crushed.
Yeah, and it's not like Sky isn't staying alive. I think Running with Scizors are doing the best job of keeping her alive in these situations, but they're getting picked off one at a time or getting forced in awkward points where, yeah, they're not going to win the resulting team fight, and then TSU get really far ahead on the timer. So we're going to head into the second half here. Team SoloUber leading 3-1 on match point, 1st to 4, and we're going to head into what could be the final round of this match. Both demo men going for the classic top right cliff rollout, and we're gonna see who takes the first aggression. We've been seeing it out of Grape and Showstopper. It might happen again. I'm watching Scizor actually getting a lot of point presence, just pushing up there. And the way that Running with Scizors are playing, they're playing very passive and giving TSU a lot of space. You don't want to be doing that because the point on this map is actually at a height advantage. So TSU are actually making their way around the corner. Showstopper gets a kill on the Evil Mr. Muffins, and Alec pushing back Sen down to 52 health behind the rock as the Showstopper still back there. Finally goes down to Sen. TSU now moving forward, and a couple deaths go down for Running with Scizors. So TSU are going to get themselves a cap and a very slow to develop middle.
Yeah, that was probably the spammiest middle to date. There wasn't any aggressive soldier bombs. They sort of waited for the first like 20 or 30 seconds, but actually Blue's going to be re-pushing here since they do have Scizors spawning kind of late, and they're fighting very aggressively on this point. They're sort of, and it looks like Red actually wants to fight this very aggressively with Showstopper, and there's going to be a blue Uber popped up. Sky is very weak.
Yeah, but a much better Uber in for TSU, and also Rakuso's over on Sniper, so he's not going to be able to help out much in the resulting team fight. Showstopper pushes forward and takes down Sky and Sen. Now the scouts for TSU are in deep as Scizor and Alec pick up frags of their own, and now it's just Rakuso and Jarrett, and Rakuso is probably going to get picked off here. Scizor's right underneath him. Jarrett goes down. Scizor actually didn't see Rakuso go over his head, so Rakuso makes it out alive, but the damage is done. The medic went down.
Yeah, definitely, and Showstopper and Ninja Nick played that so well, with Showstopper falling off that damage off Sky and getting the pick on the scout and her on planks. And as soon as the sniper was called, Ninja Nick just hid behind near the pack and on point, and just really wasn't able to be pressured at all by that sniper.
Yeah, it's a very awkward situation with Ninja Nick staying alive. He's able to get a very large Uber advantage. So even if Running with Scizors gets the point here, it's gonna be bad for them. They lose they pick off Showstopper to start things off, as TSU are still defending the point quite comfortably. Duatna throwing stickies all over the place. The bomb over his head that forces the Uber out of Ninja Nick, but a complete wipe out of Running with Scizors puts him in a very bad place.
Yeah, I mean, they get the force, but at what cost? They've lost Sky again. They didn't put any cap time on the point. They're just getting pounded, SLIN. They're just getting pounded here.
Yeah, and now TSU back in that forward hold. We've seen them do it so many times with the soldiers locking down the stair side door, and the trap on the cliff side door makes it really difficult for Running with Scizors to push out. You see them trying to make space from lower main, but now the soldiers are going to collapse down in on them. Actually, Jarrett has a good pipe to kill Showstopper. Now Jarrett sees the people collapsing down on top of his head, and that is what's going to happen. Yeah, Duatna and Grape, the two big beasts on TSU, collapse on that lower main door and pick up 5 kills, and Sky, left by herself, isn't able to build Uber.
Yeah, Duatna and Grape's focus fire there was so good. He showed no fear, by the way. He just dropped down and was piping everything. He was like, pipe to you, sir. Pipe to you, madam. We're just going to pipe you all. And it was really, really brutal in that choke point where the demo can do so much work. And there's actually be a repush from here, from Blue, because it's pretty desperate now to get any time on the point.
Yeah, Deathy actually able to find his way behind the enemy team, but he doesn't find anyone. Now he's going to get taken down by Grape. And TSU have that number advantage. They did use Uber to get it, though. Sky backing off as best she can through lower main, but she hasn't found her back to any of the doorways. Alec now trying to collapse in, takes evil Mr. Muffins down. There's a soldier above Sky. She's going to back up towards the cliffside door, but get forced by Grape. That Batman KB just swoops right in there, gets the force out of Sky. TSU are trying their best to get healthy to defend the remaining seconds left on the clock. And Running with Scizors still haven't gotten that cap down. Now they're finally putting some point presence there, but Ninja Nick's gonna have himself a bit of an Uber advantage if he can stay out alive.
Oh, Jarrett's so hurt. Jarrett just picked up. Red's gonna push in here very aggressively with Jarrett dead. Duwana's just gonna walk forward, I'm sure, and just put tons of damage in. It's gonna be a desperate hold from Blue, because if they don't get this is gonna be a game here, SLIN.
Yeah, TSU are in such a good position to win this round. They have the number advantage. With Jarrett being dead, there's going to be no Demo Man threat on top of them. And it looks like Alec is already putting so much point capture time down. Grape gets the kill on the flank on Rakuso, and that's probably going to seal the deal here as TSU begin to push forward towards the point. Sky not even healing anybody. She can't really get into a good position for it. TSU,
oh my goodness, so much damage.
Yeah, but Ninja Nick 99%. He dies right before he gets Uber. Ninja Nick goes down. Running with Scizors actually have a decent attempt here to defend this point with Ninja Nick dying at 99%, but that capture gets in anyways, and that's going to be the match.
You know, I think that was with that interruption on you, SLIN. I'm sorry, I was just amazed because pretty much all of Red was like so hurt behind the rock. They had really good spam from Jarrett and the soldier bombs. And they were like all in the like minuscule amounts of HP, and they've just had any cleanup. They probably could have won that fight, but they just weren't able to clean it up. And I think in the end, Red was able to repush and get the picks.
Yeah, I think they just forgot to put time on the point there, right? Because they were like all over Ninja Nick getting that kill, and then they just kind of let it the capture time expire, and then they lost that round. Like they actually had a chance to win that one, but okay, oh well, that's what happened, and it was a pretty one-sided performance for TSU. Wouldn't you agree?
You know, I would say in the earlier rounds, you know, it was 1-1. It was pretty close. We saw some really close rounds in the beginning, SLIN. But I think TSU sort of figured out what they needed to do, and they found that just bombing those soldiers behind the Running with Scizors combo and the rest of their team just really provided the pressure and the openings they needed, and they just didn't get cleaned up. And I think that really turned the tide in a lot of the fights.
Yeah. Checking out the stats page. TSU winning 4-1 in this match. Ninja Nick did have one Uber drop, but he did have a lot of Kritzkrieg uses as well there. And Duwatna with 409 damage per minute tops the board with 11,000 damage in the match. And looking for any other standout performances here. Yeah, Duwatna was 28-14, so he just played really well. Alec also did a good job at 32-17, but Scizor, the best scout on the map with 34 frags and 12 deaths. It's like a 3-1 KD there, Avast.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. And I mean, we saw a pretty quintessential Viaduct here with the scouts just doing huge amounts of work. And you know, Duwatna is an extremely talented player, and Viaduct is a map where Demo arguably probably has the most impact out of any other maps. And he just showed with Duwatna just doing a lot of work, especially in those later rounds.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Team SoloUber needed, because they had a couple tough losses at the beginning of the season. Now they're at a 2-2 record. With this victory over Running with Scizors, will put themselves much higher in the standings, over at 4th place. So Running with Scizors is going to drop down to 6th place, and there's still plenty of matches left in the season, right? It was only week 2, but don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to bring you another match in just 10 minutes. It's going to be Froyotech versus Hands Off, and can't wait to bring you that match. So see you in a bit.